I don't think Plarium really understands what they've done to Hydra. I'm going to break that all down in today's video, so let's get started. What's up guys, MtgJedi here, how you doing today? We are on the test server, we're talking about Hydra. My goal with this video is to break down all of the changes in a very easy, digestible way so that you know where you stand once these changes are live in the game. Let's jump into Nightmare Hydra. This is, in my opinion, the most sort of accessible team in terms of what type of roles you want in your Nightmare Hydra setup, okay? We have a tanky reviver, we have an increased speed and a decreased speed champion with a turn meter boost. We have 2 damage dealers, typically one with HP burn. We have at least decreased defense and block buffs. It'd be better if we also had weaken. And we have some type of provoke. Usually we want a shield champion as well. I have a full video on Warchief. Make sure you watch that if you're interested in this team or in this champion. I will also be showing you replacements, and we'll be doing a different version of this team, and we'll also be getting into endgame stuff as well, so there's going to be something for everybody here. Let's jump right in, and what you're going to notice right away in this run, I'm going to target the head of Decay over here. We need to do that for Warchief. Again, go watch that video if you want to see all of the information on him. I don't have time to cover that all today. The other thing that you're going to notice here, which is really the main point, is that there's no difference, okay? We're doing our attacks. We're setting up everything that we've normally done on Hydra, and everything is going as anticipated. Everything's going as planned. There's really no differences, okay? And that's going to be the case for the majority of players, I think. You really have to be popping heads frequently for the new changes to affect you. And so that is going to affect the top players and the top clans. We are going to get into that. That will be here in the near future. But right now, what we need to see is, what does a typical run actually look like? So what I need to do is I need to let this play out until we are actually having the exposed necks, decapitated heads, however you want to say it. We need to get to that point. That's going to take a bit because we are not having like super high crazy DPS normally. So we also will talk about the changes to Trunda. I will show you that as well, and we are going to break it down for you. So let me get to the point where we have some necks, and that will be the thing that you really need to pay attention to, the most important thing. Okay, we're coming to the point where we're going to have our first exposed neck. However, we have somebody eaten, so we need to free them. As you can see, this is normal. This is what we would normally expect. There's no changes there. I think people misunderstood what was happening with champions being digested. There are no changes to the first time a champion's digested. You're still going to have the 5 turns. It's still going to be the normal amount. Now over here, I don't like this whatsoever. I really wish that this was a different color so that we could easily differentiate just like we did before. Before, it was like the black empty color to let you know that it was a different thing, really. So I think visually speaking, even though this is an HP bar, just a different shade of red even. Like make this be a little bit lighter color so that we can see the difference. But you can see over here, I don't even have time to target this before it's going to pop back up because I need to focus over here. And that's going to be the case for a lot of players. So let me go ahead and target over here. This head is going to pop back up. And what you're going to notice is that that's no different from any other run, any other time. It's exactly the same. Like this is what you would normally expect. The only difference is if I was to destroy all of that, then what would happen is the head would pop up early. So for most players, it's not going to be a problem. You're probably going to get the same type of damage that you were getting before. Now, One of the things that would easily improve this team is to get a Hex champion in here, either in a cursed set or in like with the ability, whatever the case might be. Just some type of cursed ability in here would be great. It's a really, we need to steal this buff, okay? One of the cool things about Warchief is that he can steal the buffs. So, now, we came in here, we destroyed this head, right? Nothing was different, okay? It popped back up, it was immune to damage for a turn. That didn't really impact us that much. It was fine, honestly. It was fine. All right, so now let's put block buffs up. And let's try to steal this buff. Perfect. Warchief, super good. What you are going to want to do, if possible, is to kill 2 heads at one time. That way, when they respawn, you can just have a head to target that you can deal damage to. As long as you have 1 head that you can click and target that's not immune to damage, you can still continue doing damage. The problem is, that is very difficult. So as you can see here, we're going through the fight. There's no changes. It's exactly the same as it was before. And then we have, you know, a damage bar, but we're not even going to get through that with this team. We're not going to get through that. It's just going to be there, and then whenever the timer, like the turn timer, comes back around, it's going to respawn, okay? There's no difference, okay? I just want to, like, reassure you. I need to say it so many times. There's no difference for many, many people. Like, you're overestimating, you're over-exaggerating, and I think that it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We're going to adjust. The teams are going to be basically similar. We're going to have to maybe switch out some things, which will be interesting. And for the endgame players, that's where the changes are really going to come into play. But for most endgame players, that's the exciting part. Now, as we progress in the fight here, what you would notice is once we get to the time where we have the 2-turn counter on the digestion, then what's going to happen is you'll see the shield getting bigger. So if you have this style team that was making it to the turn limit, you might not make it to the turn limit, and you're going to want to upgrade your team for more damage. But if that is the case, then you want to upgrade your team for more damage anyway. So it's not that big of a deal, okay? It's not that big of a deal. I hope that I'm making sense here. I hope this is clearing up what's happening. And so far, there has been nothing crazy or nothing really, honestly, anything different at all, okay? So let me know in the comments what I need to clarify, what you'd like to see, what else can I show you on the test server before it's live in game so that you have all the information necessary. I could let this keep playing out, but I want to move on to the next thing, which is going to be what happens when we do more damage in this team. So let's go ahead and end this battle. The reason why I want to end this battle is so you can see most of the damage is split between Artak and Rathalos Blademaster. It's a dynamic duo. It's a very common combo. And then we're actually getting a little bit of damage out of Nikmo and Warchief. I really wish Warchief was in Cursed set here, or Nikmo was in Cursed, something like that, okay? So, let's regroup, let's talk about the changes that I would make to this team, and then we will run it back briefly again. Okay, then one of 2 ways to upgrade this team. There's a few ways, okay? Number 1, if you have Sulfurion, he should be in as many teams as copies you have. He's the best reviver. I'm not going to go there. I don't think most people have him. Duchess is fine. Whatever reviver you want is there. But if you want to remove Artak and Ugo, you could replace them with Venus or Lydia and Wallmaster or another block buffs champion. That way we have decreased defense, we have weaken, we still have block buffs, Wallmaster's going to add more damage. You could also replace those 2 and go Estrid and another HP burn champion instead of Nikmo and Artak, right? And then just leave in the Ugo. So let's go ahead and see what the difference is with this version and see how much more damage we would be getting. Does this matter? Would this change? Like how much we're killing heads? I think it's going to change a little bit, but not as much as you think. So let's just see. We have everything that we need in this team. Still, all of the roles are being filled. We have the HP burn from Venus. She's so amazing. So amazing. One of the most common questions I have on people's accounts for Hydra takeovers is, do you have Venus? And you can see that our damage per turn is going up, but our head popping per turn is not. It's not changing. We're still going to be killing heads at a really normal pace. You have to have crazy endgame teams to be killing the heads at a pace which is high enough that you're gonna notice the damage reduction. Most of the time, your damage is just gonna go down a little bit because what's happening is you have immunity on the head that respawns, but for the most part, you're still doing the damage just like you normally would have been before. So let's go ahead and let this play out for a bit so we can see the difference. I'll wait until we get the necks exposed again, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, not even like 30 seconds later, we did have our first neck exposed. And then what you want to do is try your best to kill it. But as you can see here, like, that's difficult. Like, we're still gonna have a hard time killing the exposed neck. And the reason why is because we don't have that much time. Okay, now if we have the top tier damage dealers, then yes, you're going to be able to kill the exposed necks. But what you're going to see here is even with a team like this, that a lot of people would be like, wow, that would be so much better than my team. We didn't kill that neck. We didn't kill this neck. Now, what you have to be careful of as well, the more damage you put in your team, the harder it is to just kill one neck, one head effectively, because when it respawns, it will have that damage immunity. So if possible, you want to be killing 2 heads at one time. That is what you want to be doing. So now this neck it's available. Dang it, Warchief. Okay, I think we're gonna get cleansed, but oh well, we'll do what we gotta do. Let's see. Yep, and see, before we could even kill it, it respawned. Now it's gonna have that damage immunity, and then after it takes a turn, the damage immunity will fall off. Keep in mind, before it was already taking 85% less damage. It was taking very little damage. Now it's just taking no damage. And now that is doing is stopping us from repeatedly popping the heads. That's all it's doing. It's just making us let the head take one turn and then we can go kill it again. Okay? So, yes, is my damage a lot better in this team? Absolutely. Is it, is it crazy? No. And what is going to be the difference here? A small downtick in damage. Maybe that will add up to millions. I'm not exactly sure. We need more testing. I need 20 Hydra runs at the full length, 45 minutes or an hour, right? We need lots and lots of testing to know what's going to be the best strategy going forward. And my estimation of the situation is it's going to be different for everybody. Right? It depends on what happens on your account, whether, you need to push for more damage, you need to take things out of your team, etc. So you can see here, very little impact on either of these teams, and that's probably going to be the case for you as well. All right, so let's end this battle. And we can see here that Venus Blade Master, and then really Wall Master's the one who's doing the damage. And I think Wall Master and Marius would be the two champions who have gained the most from this. Maybe I'm forgetting another AoE max HP champion. Maybe Husk's stock went back up again. But that is, we'll wait and see on that front. If you are a Husk user, please send me a message and update me once you have tested him. Let me know what your opinion is. Like, did he start doing more damage again? But I think maybe a Crizia stock still going to be good, but eventually you're going to move away from a Crizia to better damage dealers. That's going to take longer now, and Acrizia is going to be better again. So yeah, Wallmaster, Acrizia, Marius, those three champions I think are the biggest winners so far out of this. Now, what happens when we actually get a team that is like really popping heads? So here's my probably new Nightmare Hydra team. And I think that if you are a Teox user, you will get away from the A1 only stuff. I was just thinking about and working through that, and I think that that is correct, but we will have to see again. None of this is set in stone. This is just everything that I know right now. So what you're going to notice here is that obviously with this being a more endgame team, I'm going to be able to pop the heads quite a bit better than in the other teams. Toshiro is an absolute beast, and then obviously we know Teox is amazing as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set everything up. If you're using Teox, you want to use his A2 twice. That is going to build up your stat boost in his kit. And then I think we're going to want to be using his A3 so we can try to kill the heads and most importantly, the necks at one time. Now, I need to manual a second turn with the Newt. And here's another thing that is probably not going to make you happy. At first glance, it seems like manualing is going to make a pretty significant difference in your damage. And I don't really want to say that out loud, but I really do think that that's true, because as you can see here, what I'm doing is I am popping the heads and I'm trying to get them to come back all at the same time. Am I going to be able to do that? I don't know. Is it even possible to like work through a team like that? I don't know. Okay, there are a lot of things, but here we've gotten to the point where I was trying to get us. We have our powerful A3 ability. We don't have decreased defense here, but can we pop these at one time? No. And you see we get the damage immunity back, and then over here we have these two, and that's just not going to... It's not going to allow us to get the same kind of damage that we were getting before. Okay, because normally we would have this over here, we would put Hex on them, and then we'd be able to sneak damage in based on, the other champions on our team. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this because of the ally attack, and then that's going to come back with block damage, and we didn't get this at the same time. Is it even possible to get them at the same time? It's very difficult. Let me just say, it is very, very difficult to get them to come back at the same time. I don't even know if we want to try to get them to come back at the same time because of how difficult it is. So that is going to be the struggle that we're going to encounter with our high damage teams. And good news for you is that it balances the format. It really balances it between the high-end teams and the low-end teams. And see, there, I'm trying to explode this head, and instead this comes back. Now he has block damage again. So, like, what am I supposed to do about that? Am I missing something? Please let me know. I don't even know what else to say about it, okay? Are we getting good damage? Of course we're getting good damage, but are we even going to be able to hit those same type of numbers that we were doing before? Definitely not. Definitely not. So, what else do I need to say? I think that one of the things we need to consider is that we might want to remove decreased speed from our endgame teams. I think that that is going to be a thing that we might want to happen. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I do think that that is a possibility here. All right, now let's see if maybe we can still get all 4 heads broken down at the same time. Yes, we did. Okay. All of them are next, but see, maybe we don't want Hex in here anymore because now these heads are going to start popping early, right? So I don't know, maybe we can use the Hex to try to explode them at the same time, but see there, nope, this one popped too early. So it's a little bit frustrating, and I'm not sure that this was the best thing. But also, I will admit, it does seem like a very good balancing mechanic to try to bring some sort of balance to the Hydra Clash format. And at the same time, not punish the early mid-game players who are trying to just progress and get their max chests. This might mean that you take 2 weeks to get your personal chests. It might mean that you take 3 weeks to get your personal chests. But if you were an endgame player before, you probably will be again. I think one of the things that would really help here is if we change the speed and some of the abilities on the Head of Suffering, because it's just going so slow in comparison to all of the other heads. And then the extra turn mechanic is going to equally frustrate a lot of people over and over, repeatedly, etc. I've been a little bit long-winded here, but I really felt like I needed all of these different parts, all of these different explanations, so that you could really see what's going on here, okay? And clearly, yes, we're still going to be able to do good damage, just like we were doing before. Is it going to be as good? No, it's not, okay? It's definitely going to go down some, but for most people, I don't think it's going to go down that much. Okay, another important thing is, what do these champions do on auto? Okay, so we have Lady Mikage's A3 is available. Who is she going to target on auto? Let's see. She's not going to target the decapitated head, but she also didn't target the one who's immune to damage. So I guess I will take that. I think it makes a lot more sense to target the head that's decapitated, but I think this actually works out well for us, especially in these endgame style teams. Another thing is, do the champions target the block damage heads? It does not appear that they do. So that is very good for our auto friendliness, because one of the things that I'm super worried about is that we have to manual for the best results. And that's always been the case, but what I'm hoping is that it's minimal. Okay, I'm hoping that that's minimal. I don't want a manual Hydra. I know most people don't. There's some people who are a little crazy and they want a manual Hydra all the time. I am not one of those people. Edit. Sometimes the ally attack will target the right target. As you can see there, we targeted here for some reason. I don't know why that is the case. Sometimes it's targeting the non-immune heads. Sometimes it's not. But hopefully Plarium will fix that AI, because we should not prioritize an immune head ever. Also, we should not prioritize this Head of Suffering when it has the stupid reflect damage up, which I did notice one time. I'm not sure whether that was an anomaly or whether that's consistent, but if we're going to go forward with this, I think that we definitely need to prioritize fixing the AI so that it's as good as it can be. Okay, so now what you're going to notice is once we get to turn count 750, you will see the turn limit indicator coming on here. And that is great. Yes, it's going to lower the damage, but this is also going to be so much shorter of runs, which is great. So I want to get to a point here where I can also show you what it's like with getting your champions eaten at this stage of the game, because that, I think, is one of the things that people really want to know. You can see it really clearly. Where is it? I don't have a buff right here. Okay. You can see it really clearly right here. So the 5th Devour gets a bonus HP. The 6th one, 7th one, 8th one, they all go up. So the more that you're killing the heads, the less your champions are going to be eaten. That is still going to be the case. And then if they get eaten, then the more they get eaten, you can see that HP goes up. I don't think that it's going to, like, say which one that it's on. It's just going to, like, show you, like, the bigger amount of damage. And, like, you can tell here that this was a lot less damage because of that poison cloud. So the basically everything is still going to be similar, but you are going to need to do more damage to free those champions. So once it gets up to that turn limit counter again, I think maybe we should start paying a little bit more attention and making sure that we can free our champions effectively. I don't know, let's get to the end of the run and see what happens. Okay, we're coming to the end of the run here, and I don't think that I really ran into, like, survivability issues. I don't think I really ran into any of this, like, you know, worrying about the devouring, but I can tell you from testing some other teams that is going to be the case. Okay, so here we are on the damage screen, and as you can see, I was able to reach that. Certainly not the most damage that I've ever gotten, and we're going to have to readjust our expectations, but I think this is going to be a lot more balanced for most people. I am kind of excited to see if we can break it again, not going to lie, but for now, I think that this is a lot more balanced, and we'll have room for innovation, we'll have room to test and find new cool strategies, and this will give people a much more balanced Hydra Clash format. So, let's jump in and wrap it up then. Okay, so that'll do it for me here today. When you're seeing this, I'll be live on stream, so come on out and we'll talk about all the rest of your questions. I'm not going to have time in this video to test Trunda, but her damage has gone way down, just as a TLDR. So if you want a separate video on Trunda, let me know. I can definitely do that. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.